Hi, this is Tammy with Talking with Tam, December 2nd, 2011, and thank you for joining me this evening. Um, I haven't been on in about a month. Approximately 3 weeks ago, I was about ready to announce, well, actually, it's been more than 3 weeks ago, getting ready to announce who I felt like I could endorse for the GOP candidacy to go up against President Obama. 2 days before, or 2 days after posting on my YouTube channel and then my Facebook page, um, Hermain Cain, who was the person I was considering endorsing, we started having some news flashes, little big news flashes concerning sexual harassment, and now the latest is an affair. So I think I learned a great lesson. And so my lesson would be is we don't always know everything about a candidate. I still don't know if all this is true. I frankly don't have time to spend trying to dig this all up about him. And I am in great hopes that Hermain Cain tomorrow will announce, for the sake of his family, that he is dropping out. This is what I'll say. When you run in politics, when you run for a position, the most horrific thing is that people can say a lot of things about you that are absolutely not true. In the old days, I don't know that it got out as much. People could say things, and some may hear it, some may not. Nowadays, with Twitter, Facebook, 24-hour news, people wanting to write books, and you know how I feel about that. I told you guys, I'm still waiting to see if Casey Anthony comes out with her book. Everybody's wanting to write a book. Everybody's trying to get out of debt. Now, I'm not saying that any of the accusations are false. I just honestly don't know, so I don't feel like I want to spend my time discussing if it happened, did it not happen, did it happen. So the damage has already been done. I don't think he can recoup. Even if all this is absolutely false, I don't think he can bounce back from it. And for the sake of his family, and that's who I'm thinking about right now, to be honest with you, I think he needs to announce tomorrow that he is going to drop out. And if it is completely false, I think it's sad. But when you sign up for running, you know that a lot of things can happen. And it's just part of what has happened in our culture today. As far as who I now would endorse at this point, no one. I think there's some interesting things happening. It's going to, at this date, December 2nd, in a month, the January 2nd, there's no telling what will happen. That's how fast things go on around here in the political scene. So my dad called me the other night and said, or asked me, have you seen the gas prices lately? And I said, yeah. And he goes, so what do you think that means? I said, I think that means President Obama is going to be voted back in. And another reason I think he's going to be voted back in, and again, this can change on a dime, and I understand that. The unemployment rates came out, I think, to 8.6%. It was announced today, and so I know everybody's getting their flow charts out, and they're discussing, well, there's 412,000 jobs that are, quote, missing. Are those the people that have given up, no longer receiving unemployment? And I understand all that. But there are a lot of people that aren't going to educate themselves on what the real numbers mean, and they will see that 8.6%. So that's in favor of President Obama. So there's a lot of spin on a lot of stuff, and a lot of the Republicans are still preaching anybody but Obama. So I think, like I've said over and over again, I wish it was December 2012. It's going to be a long, long year. So we'll see what happens. Just try to educate yourself as much as possible still about the candidates if you're a Republican. And there's a part of me that wonders if we still might not see an independent run. It's starting to get late in the game, so to speak, but I still think that could happen. Okay, so that's it on that. I have two more things to cover real quick. The second thing is locally, our Board of Education on December 8th is going to make a decision whether or not to close schools down, 2 schools in our area, or to go into a holding pattern, I believe. Really, what they're really going to discuss is whether or not to close schools down, the 2 schools that they are considering to school. Are they going to close 1 down, 2 down, or none? So, or 3. I don't know what they will decide. I made a plea with this Board of Education a few weeks ago to please plan. When you know there's a possibility of at least having 400 something thousand cut or $800,000 cut, either way, you need to make your short-term and long-term goals and what your plans are going to be if X, Y, and Z happen. So I don't think that's asking too much of the Board of Education. I don't always think it's the smartest thing to fly by the seat of your pants, and you can be telling yourselves that you'll deal with it when the time comes, and when you know, there's what's really popular with my husband is say we will cross that bridge when we come to it. I like to try to think ahead on the possibilities of what might or might not happen. So I think that's especially with the Board of Education, I think they have the responsibility, and the superintendent, to make those decisions and base it on what's best for the education of our children, not base it on how many people will have to let go, or we need to keep the employment numbers up. And I agree, jobs are extremely important, but we also need to look at how do I word this? Look at the big picture and see what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're not willing to sacrifice. And I think that's extremely difficult with 5 people. You get 2 people, you might both get on the same page. With 5 people, it can be extremely difficult. But in anything with schools, base it on the children, and what you might think might be best for the children may not be best for the children. So educate yourselves before you make these decisions, and try to get the facts straight before you sit down and try. Even though been told that I'm an emotional woman and I'm passionate, I'm a very common sense approach woman, and I think it's best to sit down, look at the facts, decide what's important, what's the best way to get there, and then make the decision. That's all I'm asking from the Board of Education. Okay, the last thing is reality TV. I have had about 443 views since I started this vlogging on YouTube, which isn't a great amount. Trust me, I've got Shay Lost with millions of hits. And I realize he does that professionally, and I'm just a 43-year-old Southern woman in Western North Carolina doing this. So there's only a few of you that are going to see this, and I understand that. But I would like to make a passionate plea with each of you and spread the word to please stop watching reality TV. Now, what I think might be okay is Amazing Race, Biggest Loser, that kind of stuff I think is okay. But the Bachelor, the Black Bachelorette, I can't even say it, because I have finally realized after I will admit, my sisters call me. They say, Tamara, you have to watch this. I'm thinking, does Tam really need to watch this? Okay, you put a man with 40 women and he's got to choose. We know this isn't reality. This is fantasy. Okay, you guys. And then we start watching this junk, and then I realize they're all wannabe actors and actresses. That's what I truly believe with this Bachelor and Bachelorette stuff. So I would like to get back to Andy Griffith days, the Waltons, Happy Days. Tim Allen's got a pretty decent show on. So let's get back to some, I don't know, comedy. Where's the comedy? Comedy is not reality TV. The Bachelor, Bachelorette, the Kardashians, you guys, we have to ban it. This has to be the new wave. This is not good for our society. We are not a good society. We think this is real. Our children are being raised to think this is all real. And then they have this sick perception of what reality is. So I think, and the majority of my listeners are women. The majority of you guys are my age. So, and I'm not saying that the men and the younger generation that watches this or the older generations that watches this shouldn't get on this bandwagon with me. But I am asking you to really think about, before you watch this reality junk, do you really need to watch it? I love non-thinking TV. Everybody makes fun of me. American Idol and the X Factor. I love to watch that stuff. It's non-thinking. I can just sit back, watch it, and enjoy it, okay? But I'm trying to figure out the benefit of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, the Kardashians. I know there's others out there that I don't know about. Is it really doing a service to our country to watch this junk? And if people would quit watching it, just like when I told you when Casey Anthony was going to, quote, write her book, just ignore it. Don't buy the People magazines with these people on it. If you would stop, just stop, then they would quit doing it because they market to the public. Okay, you guys? So if you're tired of it, then just stop it and encourage others, because I ask you, what is this doing to our society? This junk. I had a friend that had just watched on Good Morning America. The top of the news was the Kardashian junk. Is that really newsworthy? Do we really need to hear all that? Do we really care? Just like the Charlie Sheen thing when that was all going down. Do you really? I know it's like seeing the wreck on the side of the road. You want to slow down and you want to watch it. I know it's tempting, but just pass on by. Don't do it. For the sake of this, we always say, for the sake of our future, for the sake of our children's future, for the sake of our children, stop it, because they're being raised with this stuff, so it's just going to get worse. And when we're 80 years old and in a rocking chair, there's going to be nothing but reality TV. And then you're going to look at yourself and you're going to wish you had listened to me on December 2nd, 2011. That's all I'm asking. Consider banning reality TV, and maybe this country will get back on track. Think about it. Thank you, and have a great, safe weekend.